Hello, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are living. I hope everybody enjoyed their lunch. I hope also that everybody has taken the time to fill in the WVD Tech Quiz. There are a lot of cool prizes sponsored by our partners. And I think it's time for the next session. This next session is brought to you by Markus. Markus will tell us everything we should know about Windows Virtual Desktop without a golden image. I'm a big fan of golden images, but I'm really curious on what Markus' opinion is about this, especially when integrating it with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So if Markus is ready, I will.
Yes.
I will send it live. Your webcam should also be visible. Yes. And the stage is yours, Markus.
Thank you very much, Stefan. So welcome everyone to the WVD Tech Fest. And my name is Markus Lintuala. I'm coming from Golden Finland. We have plenty of snow here. If you need, come and get it. It's free. Place questions if you have something to your Q&A. I will answer to those at the end, and if moderators you want to answer to someone, it's fine also. So first of all, a little bit, who am I? My name is, I'm working a lot with the public cloud and Microsoft 365 now several years already, mostly with Azure and security stuff in there and security stuff in Microsoft 365, but also with the WVD as a whole concept. My background before my cloud era is around the solution architectures and also the workstation management, so configuration manager and Intune and etc. They are really near my heart, have always been. But yeah, about today's agenda, let's talk a little bit about imaging approaches, what it has been in history, what it's now, and what's the differences with these all. And let's a little bit consider about what is the image if you want to build it without the golden image, the thick image. And what's pros and cons there? There's both of those. What's the process and things to notice? Few things only. So, traditional approach. When we have been creating many years VDI environments in on-prem and in cloud, also what we have done is we create image, we install applications and so on. Then we make some modifications to the image, we sysprep, generalize it, and then we deploy it. It's the traditional way that we have been doing it. Yep, somebody can recognize this, but what it's today? As we know, a concept in the WVD and now really much more is about the imaging, the automatic imaging. And the modern approach is, of course, that you have in some repository, for example, here in Azure DevOps repo, you have your configurations, what you are doing to the base image. You have some scripts that how you are modifying the base image. Then you have pipelines that you are using to build the image by using the Azure Image Builder or the Hashicorp Packer or something else. When you have built the image and all those modifications that you have included from your scripts and so on, you build the image and store it shared image gallery. That's the thing that many blogs and everybody are talking about. Then you create another image after 1 month, for example, when you have new updates. You take the vanilla image from Azure Marketplace, customize it, and build it, and set a new version of the image, the shared image gallery. Then you can deploy the WVD host pools with those images that you have created. yeah, this works really cool, and I love it because I'm really big fan of automation and also the DevOps style of doing. But one thing that we have a little bit thought about is that is this the correct or right approach currently? And why we think about it is that do we have people who can manage these in scale, and also other than you or your colleagues who are consultants or something else who are more deep in WVD, how you can get people to maintain your environment, infrastructure, your process, and everything. What's the point? What can you do for it? You can, of course, always teach and say how to complete the like modifications and so on. It's pretty much always it's automated. You can do whatever you want, and IT is, or machine is doing the work. Okay, then we bring an idea that how about if we bring another approach to this. We take always the vanilla image from Azure Marketplace, the one that you are using when you are building up your own customized image. When you are joining it or to the WVD host pool, it's of course joining it to domain. Then it's registering it to the host pool and doing some extension stuff, DSC extension stuff. That is what it's doing under the hood. Okay. But after that, could we manage that one host or those hosts that you are deploying with some configuration manager tool? For example, Microsoft Endpoint Manager or Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. So either of these, both are supported, yep, and both works. Also, you have, because you are joining them to the Windows Server AD, you have the group policies that you can use to customize the image, the whole machine that you are deploying. You can get all the customizations, all the applications, and so on to the host sooner or later. It depends on your configurations in the infrastructure. You can also manage the host, WVD host, pretty much same way than you manage the regular workstation, the regular laptop that end user has in his desk, at the home, at the office, okay, now during the pandemic at home or somewhere in summer house. But yeah, you can manage it quite the same way. Yeah, does it work like that? Pretty much there's a couple of things. You can share the applications that you would normally pack to the thick image that you are creating with your image builder or packer. You can share the applications automatically from the configuration manager or endpoint manager, which one you're using. When it's coming to the OU, it's joining to the domain. You have dynamic collection in the configuration manager, for example, that brings those machines to the collection, and then it automatically deploys required applications to those. Yeah, it's quite easy. You can use test sequences also. If you have straight order how you want to do it, you can put it there. Of course, you can use application groups there if you want. So it's all about your imagination and how you manage regular workstations in your environment. And with this approach, you have much more people around who are comfortable to manage things and manage those hosts. You don't have to teach how to manage the code and change the scripts in repository and that kind of stuff, what it does, what is shared image gallery. It's easy thing, yes, it's not hard. You can teach it, but yep, there's a lot of people in different tiers in your support. Also, if you are in bigger company, you have service desk level and you have a second level and so on. So every level has same experience about the regular management. It can be done here, but there's also cons. when using this approach. Both way works. Let's focus first to the pros. As I said many times, you can manage it as a regular workstation. It doesn't matter at all. You get the same GPOs. Of course, you can get those all later in the traditional approach or in the automatic approach. It doesn't mean that, but yeah, you manage those same. You don't have different kind of ways how you manage those. You have same applications. Let's say that you have to update an application to your regular workstations. It's the same way how you update it to all your images. Also, the new hosts that are coming. You don't have to update the script there. You don't have to store the installation files of applications in some storage blob or file share or something else. What you want to use there. Yeah, it's cool. Then one is the patch management. You can use the same patch management also in the way how you are managing those. Regular workstations, WVD workstations. Of course, this is the same thing if you are creating the image, but yeah, they can feel like better when they have the full control of the machine. You don't have something coming up from the thick image, something extra, and something from your configuration manager. You have all managed by your configuration manager. All your admins does how it works. And no code-based requirements. That's one thing. I'm a fan of those. I like to use it, but yeah, this approach is pretty much more simple, I think. Okay, there's one con that I want to point out. It takes time to complete after deployment. If you think about that, you join a device or workstation or whatever to the domain, it takes the GPOs. And in GPO, you will install the configuration manager client, for example. When configuration manager has run all its actions, for example, hardware inventory and so on, so it can come and deploy the applications to it. It takes time. It's not ready immediately. If you want to scale your environment, that when you deploy a new session host to your WVD, then you just can't use this method. It's not ready immediately. That's a fact. You can say for a customer that, okay, yeah, it takes, you now ordered, we completed this, it's available for you tomorrow or in a couple of hours. Real time is perhaps a couple of hours in our experiences. But yeah, tomorrow is it's good to say that, okay, it's available for you tomorrow and you can use it so much you want after that. Of course, he can use it before, but yeah, that's the thing that you have to think about how you say it for the end customer, or the end user. How the process is then working. It's domain joining, WVD joining. Those are going in the automatic process in BSC extension. Then you turn on drain mode if you are running it to some pooled host or if it's personal. It doesn't matter if you don't have the automatic assignment for the device itself. But yeah, then your GPOs will install the MemSim client. You can use GPOs to install it as it's documented in the docs.microsoft.com, or then you can use the configuration manager client that I'm suggesting for you. It's good to, because it's also fixing the client if there's happening something for the client itself. GPOs and configuration manager will install and customize the device as it would be the thick image, but you don't have to do it beforehand. You do always it when you need it. Also, there's one pro that I in fact forgot to write there, is that you don't have to patch that again and again. You always use the newest one that Microsoft is providing for you from the Azure Marketplace. So yeah, it's working quite well. And when it's ready, you can turn off the drain mode. If you are deploying the initial applications through the task sequence, for example, you can manage the drain mode of, for example, there with some script or something it calls some webhook that, yeah, check the train mode off and shown. So it's not so hard. It's a little bit another way to think about it. There's a couple of things to notice. That when you are patching a multi-system devices, you have to select from your if you're using the configuration manager as a patch management, you have to select from software update point the Windows Server version 1903 and later as a product. It's those patches through that product. There's not an own product for multi-system Windows 10, or it's not coming from the Windows 10 itself. It's one thing. Another thing to notice is that turn on from your client policy that you are deploying to your devices, that you enable the policy for multiple user sessions. Then you can handle this like if you have pooled host, there's more than one user, then you should deploy those client policies to there, or user set policies to there. Yeah, that's one thing to think about. Also, one thing is that when you're using a pooled host, disable the installation of the software center installations from the end user. Require administrator privileges to it. Why? That's why that end user doesn't know in which host he is going or she is going every time when she is connecting to the service. It's load balanced according to the host pool methods. So yeah, you can divide it wherever you want. But if you allow the installations, user can install, for example, some extra software to the host 1. Next time when she's using the host pool or desktop, he connects to the host 2 and the application is not there. So in personal devices, you can allow the application installation. It's good to know. And in pooled system host, please, then you can disable the installations. So it's pretty much simple. Also, one thing that you want to know that is that when you're managing or updating applications to the configuration manager for your another physical laptops and so on, it goes same time to all your WVDs, all your new installations and so on. So you don't have to do it again and again to another place. Cool thing. Okay, I have a 20-minute slot here. I have now a couple of where I want to answer the questions. Also, the same content is available already in our blog in blockage.cloud. Please go and read it if you want to comment it or something. And another thing, please evaluate. I put the QR code link also to the chat, so you can find it from there. And catch me on Twitter, LinkedIn. Thank you, Stefan, Simon, Patrick, and all WVD community. Great conference, and enjoy the rest of the conference also. But I will now check the questions here. So let's see where it starts. There. What is your recommendation to deploy language packs? You can deploy the language packs also through the configuration manager or that side. It's better to do it there because you can also handle it after you are updating the machine itself for the next 21H1 version or something like that, because it removes that defaultly also the language pack. Yeah, there's something answered. I don't see my endpoint manager support the WVD shared pool. Have I missed this? Do you mean endpoint manager, so Intune side? Yeah, it should. I believe that it should support it. Yeah, and in if you mean configuration manager side, you have to have a little bit newer side. The support came last year release of, was it 2010 or something like that for the configuration manager. But yeah, use the current version of the most current version of the configuration manager also. Also, in the newest one, there's one cool thing that you want to use in WVD is the cloud management gateway, and you can use it with, it's in pre-release this add-on, but you can use it with also that it gets the packages from the cloud management point that is in scale sets, resource types in Azure. It's not anymore in classic cloud service. We have used that. Yeah, it works. My question is in the opposite of Todd. Am I correct understanding that we create a modified Windows 10 multisystem image and then use it from the shared image gallery? No. When you are doing this way, you are going to like handle the dynamic approach to the itself. You take the multisystem from the Azure Marketplace, the vanilla image, you deploy it, and then you custom it with dynamically from your Microsoft Endpoint Manager or configuration manager. Yeah. Then there's a couple of questions. I published those and read, and then how can you use configuration manager in the WVD host pool? VPN. Do you mean you have to have published also the network, of course, to the configuration manager? Alan, I'm not really catching your question now, but it's also the internal network where the configuration or the WVD hosts are located. So you can use those from there. Is there a link for Intune support for WVD shared pools? In fact, I have used shared pools only with configuration manager. I will look for that and post it later on to this question if it's supported there in Microsoft Endpoint Manager, so Intune side. I have used it on personal side only. But yes, any other questions? There are some new questions. Do you think? Yeah, I published it. Do you think then persist the machine, or do you reboot after a reboot? I persist machine after reboot. So it's kind of the disk that it's using. It's using the same disk always. It's like a physical laptop or workstation. It doesn't matter that it's virtually VM in Azure. It's just there. You update it same way. You handle it same way. It works. It has its own life cycle, but you can also dynamically insert the life cycle. So, for example, this project is going to be scheduled to end at the end of year. We don't want to run these devices anymore there because our external consultants do not need it anymore. You can make a script that those are deleted automatically, or if you approve those, of course. So you can automate it much more dynamically than you can do with the physical laptops. Somebody have to buy it always. So no, use the same machine as it would be a natural one physical laptop, but no, it is not that one. Any other questions? Not at the moment. If you have, please in LinkedIn, in Twitter, catch me up, and remember to evaluate. It's really, we like to have some feedback. And thanks, Stefan, for hosting this community stage.
Thank you, Markus. I think we still have some more time because I think you had 30 minutes for the presentation. So let's just see if there are any more questions. Yeah, and I think the question from Alan is, how can you use SCCM in the WVD host pool? Well, there should be a direct line of sight, so the network should be connected. You can deploy SCCM as an virtual machine in Azure or maybe on-prem, but you have to make sure that there is some network connectivity between those two.
Yep.
Is there a link for Intune support for WVD shared pools? Yeah, so we got like the Microsoft Endpoint Manager, the Azure side, and we got the Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, the old System Center Configuration Manager.
Yeah. So yeah, and I take the answer is that yes, the Intune does not yet support the multisystem. That's the fact. But with the configuration manager, you can do it. And if you have personal devices, that in fact I thought before when we started the first WVD configurations, I thought that why do you want to use personal devices because you have pooled devices? But in fact now when we have done those, plenty of it's around side. You have more personal devices than pooled devices. So you can be surprised. But yeah, no Intune support for multisystem yet.
Yeah, and I know from experience, because this is something I'm personally looking into. When you use WVD with Endpoint Manager, you have to make sure that it's like domain joined. The WVD host must be hybrid domain joined, so that it will register in Azure AD. And the next step is to onboard or enroll them into Intune. And I know from experience that it's working for a single session WVD host. And I have some successful deployments with a multi-session. But the behavior is completely different, because with a single session deployment, the machine will be enrolled into Intune as soon as the first user logs on with a licensed user account. But for a multi-session host, you want the machines to be enrolled before you accept new user sessions. And that's the reason why Microsoft, when configuring the GPO to enroll into Intune, you will have the option to use device credentials and user credentials. So user credentials is the one, if the first user logs on, it will automatically enroll during the logon state to Intune. And device credentials should be used when you want to enroll that device with the device credentials. But it's not always working correctly. But you can indeed deploy a multi-session machine into Intune.
Yeah, if you can do it, but if it's supported, then you don't need to call for the support line. Hey, I have a problem here.
Yeah, true.
So, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Markus. Great session. Like Markus said, go to the QR code to evaluate this session. And I think in about 10 minutes we'll have the next session. The next session is from Pierre about everything we need to know about calculating and optimizing your WVD environment. And he will show us how to save money on your WVD environment. So I'm really looking forward to that one also. Again, thank you, Markus.
Thanks.